To put it bluntly,
Accessibility podcast called To Put It Bluntly.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of To Put It Bluntly. We are on season 2 still and we are currently on episode 28. It's back to a normal episode this week. We aren't looking at mine and Cameron's disastrous sports predictions anymore.
Speak for yourself, pal. Speak for yourself.
So,
I won.
As you can hear, I am joined by my hostess with the mostess, Mr. Cameron Keywood, and as ever on our air quote normal episodes, we are joined by a guest, and we will find a little bit more out about her in a little while, and that is Tara.
Hi.
So, as normal, we'll start off by just kind of going, how's everyone been? How's your week been, guys? It is currently Thursday evening at 5:30, so we've got one more day of work, and then it's the weekend.
Speak for yourself
I'm just
again,
looking
pal.
forward to it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't have you of it. How was work been for both of you this week? Because I know it's been quite hot, so I assume obviously Wobbles, you work from home.
Yeah, I've just
Been
been
warm in the office?
I've just been spending the week hugging my fan. It's quite alright. It's
Yeah, no, same.
Imagine.
Aircon, when I've been working from home, the aircon has been on. I've never been more grateful that my boyfriend has a big unit. Like, it literally involves like a thing to go out the window and everything. It still somehow doesn't seem enough. But then, like, today we had a downpour of rain just randomly, and then it's gone back to gloriously sunny, so I'm sweating again. So
yeah, we're having
it's that sort of like, I can't dress for the weather at the moment because I have no idea what's going to go on.
So yeah, I was in my room a couple of nights ago, and I was like, oh my god, I had a towel out, dripping like that, and I looked at the humidity. It was 90%.
Ooh.
I was like, Jesus, it was only 70% in the Amazon. So yeah, very humid. Yeah, what have you, when you've not been working, what have you been playing?
Ooh.
If you've got time to play games, obviously, because
I've been playing little bits. So like occasionally I'll be playing Vampire Survivors. That's what I just play with my partner. We've unlocked like every version you can get, so endless modes seem to just go on for hours. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey as well, which I've kind of got myself. I've not played it since Brotherhood, so I've just thrown myself back in to playing again. And then I've restarted Baldur's Gate 3. I've never gotten past Act 1, so I'm giving myself the challenge to get past it. I just get too busy making my character look pretty, and that's it. I can't know how getting forth then. So, but yeah, so trying to juggle multiple games.
what about you, Wobbs? When you not...
Oh, it's cricket, IRL cricket again, because that seems like all we've been doing for the last 2 weeks is cricket. No, I've been playing Rematch, which I've been really enjoying. As everyone knows, I'm obsessed with football, so yeah, Rematch has been really good fun. Been enjoying some Siege when I can actually get on in the evening with Cameron and a couple of other regular viewers. We've been enjoying Siege again after the update, and I think that's about it for personal. Yeah, for myself, It's been them two recently, and Pro Clubs as ever.
Yeah, for me, I finished Indiana Jones. I think I was on it the last time we were on. Got a platinum on it. Siege as well. And I've gone down the rabbit hole of the Rainbow Six Siege marketplace, which, because I've been playing it on and off for 10 years, well, nearly 10 years, I had accumulated tons of charms and uniforms I'm never going to use. So, and they have a second-hand market where you can sell them for premium currency.
Oh, cool!
So, and I had a rare weapon skin. I managed to get 5,000 of the premium currency, which was 40 quid's worth.
Oh my god!
So yeah, I've been just trading on that for about a week or so now. Siege,
Cameron's entering the stock market in Rainbow Siege.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supply and demand. I got plenty of supply. I got 600 uniforms and 500 headgear. It's ridiculous.
It's mad.
But yeah, that and the game is behind me. Some people may recognise Blueprints. I've been playing.
Am I allowed to laugh?
Yeah, you can laugh. I lost 70 hours of progress somehow.
Oh,
I opened the game this morning, and my save had gone, so I had to back up my old save, and it was on day 181. And in my actual save, I was on 300. Plus, I'd done the day mode. I was on the curse mode, and I think I only needed the curse mode trophy And then what about all the trophies as well?
So,
See, I have a lot of respect for you for the fact that you're still continuing. If I had started up a game and realized all of that progress had been lost, I would just be like, no, that's my sign to
Yeah,
never play
so-
this
Yeah,
again.
the only silver lining I got is that they're apparently going to do a thing where if you've earned the trophies in the game, they're going to let you import them, even though you might not have the save
Right.
anymore. That's literally the only saving grace. If I didn't have that, I think I would have cried.
Okay.
so
We're going to say
yeah.
whoops.
For those of you that don't know, Cameron is a trophy. I refer to it as, excuse my French, trophy whore on PlayStation. So
Yeah,
the fact I
yeah,
woke
yeah.
up to a message saying I'd lost, I was like, I know how much that's going to hurt him. I feel really bad. But second of all, I just started laughing because I know how many hours he's been putting into that game.
I'm really enjoying it as well. It's definitely soured me a bit on it, obviously, but yeah, it's still a really good game. It's in my top game of the year.
But yeah. So
yeah.
I think that's enough
So
about us.
trophy whore. That's
Yeah.
a new one.
So and that's enough about me and you. No one cares about me and you, Cam. We're just here to.
Oh.
Nah, they've viewed about it for 28 episodes. I think they've seen.
They're fed up with me and you. So I always like to ask this question, and who is Tara?
Who am I? So, yeah, I'm Tara. I'm currently the digital media manager at Supermassive Games. So I've been in the gaming industry for probably since 2021. So I was in esports and then came to Supermassive Games. And as the digital media manager, essentially I manage all the social media, all the content, everything to do with Supermassive Games and the Dark Pictures. So if you follow the account on TikTok, you've probably seen my face on it. And just kind of throughout all of the socials, if you comment and you get a reply from the account, it's me just having a good old time. So yes.
Yeah, that must be like a really fun job sometimes, but obviously then when things can go wrong and
Sometimes.
some people maybe go a bit overboard with their feedback, let's say.
Yeah, I think people forget that there's a person behind the computer. And I also think they forget that the people running the social media accounts don't make the games. So when I get abuse for like a bug or if they've not liked something and it's a bit like, okay, like they're like, you should go and fix this fucking game. It's like, I wish I had the skill to, but I don't. I can tweet and make TikToks like, please don't give me abuse for something I cannot physically fix. If I did, I'd probably break the game more. So, but yeah, there's a lot of positivity that kind of wipes
Negates
out that
the
negativity.
Like fan art and
Oh
cosplays,
no, yeah, it's really cool. And just nice comments of people being like, I played this with my partner every year, or I love it when me and my friends get together and like do little things like that. So that's nice to kind of read that people have found friendships and whatnot, or like their favorite game has been one of ours, which is really cool. So
just to kind of,
yeah.
for those that might not know the dev side of it and things, what games have Supermassive made and the Dark Pictures? So
Yeah. So Supermassive Games we've made quite a few games, but the one that really put us in like the gaming world map, whatever, was probably 2015's Until Dawn. That really threw us into the kind of horror cinematic narrative games. Since then, we made the Dark Pictures anthology, which is Man and Medan in 2019, Little Hope in 2020, House of Ashes in 2021, and then The Devil in Me in 2022. Also in 2022, we did The Quarry. And then last year we had the casting of Frank Stone with the Dead by Daylight Behavior developers. And then we've got Directive 8020 coming out this October, as well as Little Nightmares 3. So there's probably, hopefully, a few titles in there that people will recognize. We've done some VR titles as well and stuff like that. But there's just name dropping all of those different games, and hopefully
just a few
they are
people might have heard
relatable.
of, yeah.
Just a few are platinumed, I've been a platinum whore.
Oh, that's good. Platinum Hall. There we go.
Yeah.
I've started something now. He's
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a t-shirt for develop.
So I know you've said like you've done the esports stuff. We'll move on to that shortly. But why video games? So you've obviously ended up in the video game space, but was it like a childhood thing that's kind of, or do you later on in life found video games, or yeah?
Yeah. So it's interesting. I never planned on working in the gaming industry. I just love doing social media and doing all of that sort of stuff. So I never, like growing up at uni or anything like that, was like, my goal is fucking gaming. It's just a very happy, lucky coincidence that I got to work at Supermassive. And like work for a company that I am a fan of their games as well. So yeah, it just was a very lucky coincidence. But since joining, I realized like, yeah, this is like the industry for me. Just because the ability to be so creative, especially with like our games, because they're basically films. There is so much that we can do with like the cast and the crew and like the game itself, and just the fact that like different choices can happen and can create different outcomes, and you can really have a lot of fun with it. And that, as a creative, for me, gives me a lot of flexibility, which is really, really nice. Like, it's not a structured, like, you can only do one thing. So yeah, just a very happy coincidence that I'm able to work here.
Yes. Like, as well was to touch on the esports. So, where did you get your start in esports? Because obviously, esports is massive.
But also,
You know,
Yeah.
what did you
we
study at
talked with
uni
Siege earlier.
to get where you are? Because you said obviously you've been to university.
So yes, so I did film production at uni, film production and screenwriting. So I originally wanted to go into the film industry, and then I realized that was a pipe dream, because just it's so difficult, and I felt like it was very much an industry where you had to know people, and I didn't know anyone, and I didn't know how to network or anything like that. So I just went into like social media marketing, because I did a lot of like videography on the side when I was at uni for like sports teams, like American football and stuff like that. And I ended up getting uh, a job after I did social media marketing, just for like an agency at the police here in Surrey, because I'm based in Guildford with Supermassive Games. So I actually moved to the area to work for Surrey Police and do their like communications. So I'd go out and take photos and like run their social media and do all that sort of stuff. And then lockdown hit, and that was tough. I lived on my own and was like really struggling, and then it just was a very tough, I think, place to be in policing, just because there was so much going on and it was very lonely. So I actually saw a job on LinkedIn for an esports company, which was like a startup company. And it was essentially like, I don't know if you guys have heard of like Gogglebox, a TV show on Channel
Yeah,
4 where
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
yeah. So the idea, like the pitch was like Gogglebox meets gaming. So the idea was that during lockdown, people would be able to play with celebrities in this like little league, and then they'd be able to like go up in this kind of like league table, but viewers would be able to watch people play these games, and kind of like a fun way. So we built these like machines and stuff. So I applied for that, was amazing, got it, and started off with their social media, but ended up being one of the exec producers. And it was amazing. It was a great job. Absolutely loved it. I thought, yeah, cool. You know, gaming has so much flexibility. And then that kind of went tits up. Like, the job itself was great. The team were great. The concept worked really well. We had people like Jimmy Carr and Joel Dommett. Who else did we have? We had SV2, who's like a big YouTuber. Like, we had some really cool names. But my boss was a bit of a dick. I'm not gonna lie. I ended up going viral on TikTok because I tried to quit because he was just being a dick, and I was like, I do not get paid enough for this, and life is too short to be dealing with wankers, essentially. And he basically turned around and told me that I'd make his dead dad roll over in his grave. I lack creativity and beige. I give up too easy. But he didn't realize that I had recorded his call because I knew he was going to be aggressive
Oh,
and
Yeah.
a knobhead. So like a year and a bit after like all of that drama happened, I put the video on TikTok and it went viral. And I realized what he did wasn't right. And yes, luckily I'd obviously got a new job by then and stuff like that. So but it luckily led me to working here at Supermassive. So I realized I liked gaming, just not that person. So I found a much better manager instead.
have
So
you?
when you say viral, how
Oh,
viral
yeah,
are
I
we
was about to.
talking?
Yeah.
Millions of views. It went on places like Lad Bible. I got a couple of interviews out of it. Yeah, it kind of
And
blew up.
Pretty viral then, yeah.
yeah, so had you ever
Really
like?
viral.
Did you ever kind of create content before, like as personally, without outside of the workspace, or is it like, do you know what, I'm just gonna whack it on TikTok and for a laugh and see what happens?
Yeah, I've been kind of like, I mean, I started years ago just making little like family trip holiday videos of like when I'd go and visit my grandparents in Ireland and stuff like that. So I've always loved like creating videos and making content. When I was at the police, it was a bit harder because it was like I wasn't able to do much in terms of like associations with stuff, and I put all my time into it, so I never got the enjoyment of making things. But I'd always had things like a TikTok for just posting silly little videos and whatever, but that was like the one that just blew up for me. And I kind of realized how people work on social media that isn't through like a business, because obviously on Supermassive or any other account, you're guaranteed those kind of views because you're a known name. Whereas I'm just like one little person in a sea of millions. So it was an interesting thing, especially because of like the types of comments that were on there. But yeah, and it was cool to share my story and realize that I liked gaming, just maybe not the esports world. Maybe let's look somewhere else. And obviously, I then joined Supermassive. So
I don't know, something I can't get into really esports. Like, there's a local guy by us who's really trying to do good stuff for the Welsh esports scene. He's doing a really good job. But yeah, it's nothing. It's like I like football. I couldn't sit down and watch like an esports game like I would a football game. Like, even though they try and treat it as that, like with the casters
yeah,
and
we
the
tried to do
strategies.
it. So basically, like the idea was that we weren't doing typical things like say league and all that sort of stuff. We managed to get really cool like partnerships. So we did Dirt 5 for the first episode, because an episode out there already. So like the show went really, really well, and then he just ran away, stole everyone's money, and disappeared. While in the process of me trying to quit, and he wouldn't let me quit. He told me I wasn't allowed to quit. While he was planning on running off. Anyway, so as you can tell, like
There's a Netflix drama in
Mate,
there
I was about to say,
somewhere.
this is,
Netflix
yeah, you
drama.
need to be going to Netflix with this. It's mad. He's got a
Maybe,
TV
but
program with like
genuinely.
Jimmy Carr involved, and then he just fucks off and leaves. Like, mental.
Squid Game is finishing tomorrow, so they got room on the.
Yeah.
They got room.
There you go. Yeah, it goes from Squid Games to esport games. But yeah, so like we were trying to do it where basically it brings the like esports, because it was still quite niche at the time, and I think it's still quite a niche in like it's such a big industry, but people still don't realize that it exists.
Yeah.
So the idea was that we were going to bring this like niche in like kind of industry into the mainstream by using people like Jimmy Carr and all that sort
Yeah.
of stuff, and like the concept of esports, but with popular games like Dirt 5 or I can't remember who else we had lined up, but like we were in talks with like Sega to do one of their Sonic games, and like making basically competitions out of games that don't have necessarily an esports,
It's like, yeah, because
of
it's your typical kind
schedule to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Call
Like
of
the
Duty and
concept,
things
I
like that,
still
yeah.
think to this day is, yeah, I still think it's a really cool idea. It just was ruined by one person. So yeah, again, that kind of makes my job here at Supermassive so much nicer because I don't have to deal with that. So yeah. But bear with, I'm just going to put the blind down because I just realized
that's
it's giving me like a half and half space. Which one is it? Let's do this one.
I feel like we should keep this bit in, Cam.
Yeah, well, we'll keep it in, but I'm taking it out.
There we go. How is that? Oh, that's
Oh,
yeah, that's
yeah.
fine. Yep.
Cool.
We are back. Tara's had a lighting change.
I didn't think it was a good look to just have like blindness and then shadowing. It was, yeah, not attractive at all.
We carry on. Right, so we just finished on esports. And
What?
your
So,
Netflix
obviously you
worthy
said,
drama.
yeah. What games do you play outside of work? Because we were discussing it, and you said you're replaying Assassin's Creed Odyssey and things. Is there anything?
Yes.
What do you play outside of work? Because, like you said, you've found games through kind of different roads. So, what kind of games got you like hooked as a gamer outside of the workspace?
Ooh. So I think the first game I can fully remember like being genuinely invested in was back when I had like my Xbox 360. And I think it was Fable 2. I remember my friend lent it to me and I was obsessed with that game. Like I couldn't actually tell you anything now. I can't remember the story or anything like that, but I do remember just being obsessed with it. And like it was the first game I remember from like a story game, finishing it from start to finish, like playing the whole thing and then playing it again. But like now I mean, that was back when I think I was like 14, 15. But now as a 28-year-old, I very much enjoy. I'm obsessed with Vampire Survivors. That is just such a good game because it's just so easy and fun to play, but
Yeah.
you do have your little challenges. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I'm doing at the moment. Haven't played since Brotherhood on my 360 again, but yeah, so kind of getting back into that because I've got Games Pass, which is amazing on my PC. So I'm really able to kind of like jump back into all these like Assassin's Creed games and stuff. And then I'm trying to get past Act 1 of Baldur's Gate 3, but I keep restarting it because I keep wanting to make a prettier character. I'm just obsessed with like all the options for customization. So yeah, I don't get very far past like the first few challenges that you have to do in the
Yeah.
story.
I've played it a couple of times, the Act 1, but yeah, I have managed to get to the end and not complete the game, but you know.
Okay, yeah. I
You
just need to
know.
find how to get past it. I feel like I'm just going around in circles. So I don't know if I'm missing something or whatever, but it's fun to explore. So
And
Yeah. Ooh, go on, Robs.
so I was gonna say your job title is quite
Cool.
expensive, and yeah,
mhm.
cool. What do you like for someone that doesn't know what, like, I know, like me and Cameron being in the industry, we know what each job role does, but like you said earlier on, you kind of, it's not just getting called unseen things on Twitter and
Yeah.
other social media platforms. So what's your kind of, what's a day to day role for, like, job, like for you at Supermassive? What do you kind of do from day to day? And yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of it is like a big part of it is community engagement. So kind of engaging with the community online, whether that's on things like Twitch or Discord or just the comment sections of different channels. I come up with like the kind of social calendar, so what posts go out, like what they're about, where they go, and I also make the assets as well. So probably 90% of the stuff you'll see on our channels, I've either made or had some involvement in, which is pretty cool. And then kind of coming up with like when we have a game coming out. So for example, Director 2020, I'll be in charge and involved with the kind of social campaign. So working with the marketing team, kind of coming up with like, right, this beat, we're going to put this out and this is going to drum up to here and making sure that everything goes out smoothly, like if a trailer goes out and stuff like that as well. And then kind of helping push the studio as a cool place to be, as well as the Dark Pictures games and all of that sort of stuff. And then occasionally I'll do little talks at events and stuff like that, kind of going there, supporting at those as well. So there's like lots of little things as well that I think I probably would forget until I'm like physically doing it.
Yeah.
Um, but it's basically I like to think of it like an advocate for the studio.
So, question. As you're a
Mm-hmm.
big Supermassive fan, which actor would you like to see star in a game?
Ooh,
Ooh,
I think we can.
that's
I
a,
think we'll all answer this question.
that's a great
yeah, I'd
question.
love to know your opinions as
Yeah.
well. That is a really good question. Is it like a sort of like alive or dead situation, or do they just have to be alive right now?
No, it could be. Well, it could be anyone.
Could
Suppose
be
it could bring
anyone.
JFK back if you wanted JFK, for example.
Oh, that is a really good one because I think it just. Oh, I know exactly who. Dakota Johnson. I am her biggest fan, and I think she's generally just an icon. I don't think she's ever been given like good projects, but when I watch her in like press interviews and stuff like that, she's like the funniest person ever. And I just think, yeah, just as a fangirl, don't even care if she's good in the game. Like I just want to
Yeah.
meet her and see her and stuff like that. Or being like a loser, probably like Chris Evans or something, because I'm obsessed with him as Captain America. So, and I just think he's yummy. So, in a game, I'm not even gonna like, oh,
Reason, I
he's an
suppose.
amazing actor or anything like that. I'm just because I got a crush on him. So,
So,
yeah,
just before we go on to minor wobbles, do you like interact with like the actors in the game sometimes for
I
like the
do.
socials?
Yeah, yeah. So we actually had for the year anniversary, Ted Raimi, who's in the Quarry, just so happened to be visiting.
Yeah.
I think London or something like that. So he came to the studio, but both on the Supermassive accounts and my own kind of personal. Some of the actors I still chat to. So like Siobhan from the Quarry is a big advocate for Supermassive, and so is Zach and Miles. Sean Ashmore, who was in Man of Medan, is a big,
Yeah.
he's still a big fan of ours and stuff like that. So yeah, it's great. It's a bit more difficult when the actors don't have social media. because we can't interact with them. But the ones that do are really, really great. So yeah, no, it's really, really cool, and it makes me feel a bit like fancy when I know like they will interact with my own personal account as well. Like, or if we follow each other, I'm like, oh my god, I'm a celebrity. I'm not. They just like that I work for the company that they've also worked for, but I'll take it.
All right, come on in, Wobbles, your turn. Ooh, who are you thinking?
I want to see Sean Bean do something. Because I know he did Oblivion.
He'd die, wouldn't
He'd done Oblivion.
He'd have to be the last one alive. I can see the ending for your game. The world has ended, his old buildings crumbled, and Sean Bean just scares up, looks around, he's the only person alive, and the credits roll.
Yeah. It's just because he dies in everything, right? Sean Bean dies in Game of Thrones, everything he's ever been in, the man just dies in it. So I want to see him in a video game where he doesn't die. Like, and he'd play, I think he'd make like the really cliche English bad guy, really like James Bond bad guy perfectly. And so
I mean, we'd have to do it as an achievement as well if it was Sean Bean, because he dies and everything. Obviously, our games are choices, so depending on the choices you make, if you fail them as well, a character dies. So you'd have to have an achievement that said like
save Sean or something,
or something like that. Yeah, like another one bites the dust because he dies again. So the Sean Bean treatment.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think, and who I would like to see is Liam Neeson.
Okay.
No, not Liam Neeson. Because I wouldn't mind seeing Liam Neeson. He's a good actor. He's in the new Naked Gun film coming out. We're not sponsored by them.
Yeah, that looks really good, to be fair.
That looks quite funny. Ewan McGregor, that's what I meant.
Oh, I love Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, that's a good show.
Yeah, because obviously a big Obi-Wan fan, me. And I don't know if either of you two know, his brother's in the Air Force.
He is, because they call him
Obi-2.
Yeah.
Even at work, you're living in your brother's shadow. It's just savage, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can literally fly fighter jets, but they're like, but your brother's Obi-Wan.
Yeah, your brother's so much cooler than you. He's a Jedi, but it's not real. It doesn't matter. He's a Jedi.
Yeah.
No, that was cool. No,
we got three good games.
Yeah, we get people commenting all the time of like people they want to see in our games, which is great, but like I'm not able to like it because then people think that we're confirming that they'll
the thing is, if they then actually get on to sign the project, they will think, oh, where's my idea? I want some.
Where's my agency fee? Just because you suggested them. Yeah. I mean, we get people saying that they've sent us ideas and that we're ripping them off. It's like, well, no. Like, you do realize how long games are in production for, but sure, if you want to think it's yours, it's yours.
Oh, I don't like. I'm in the social media space because of like my advocacy, and it's great because if someone says something stupid to me, I can call them a knobhead. You can't. I couldn't cope. Like, even though I'm like 100% like it's the work account, don't do it. I would still be going home, onto my personal account, and then going, "You're a twat, mate."
Yeah. No, I mean there have definitely been a few times like I've jokingly said that I wish there was like a purge day in social media where just one day a year,
just
I
go
can unhinge.
Yeah.
Just go crazy, or like I'll send, because we have like a group chat on our work accounts where we like, obviously if I'm like sending content to be like, what do you guys think or whatever, and it'll be like to the marketing team because it's just myself and my manager on the social team, so we work really closely with the marketing team, and like if I see a comment that's quite like a juicy little like, oh, that made me bite almost, I'll send it over, and one of my colleagues will always be like, let me reply. I'm like, no, oh my god, like
that's me. I'd be that colleague. I'd be that colleague. Yeah, I would 100% be that colleague.
So, but internally, or like, like in my brain, I have a reply, and then I'm able to like before ChatGPT came along, my process would be like, right, how can I businessify it to make it sassy, but in a business capacity? And then that's normally just throw a little smiley face emoji, and it's
and
like,
then it just instantly de-escalates it. Yeah.
Like as you mentioned, ChatGPT, I was just thinking the other day about like the advancement of AI, because I found a picture from. I remember when the first like ones were coming out, and they were like awful, like spaghetti arms and because I think I did Kermit the Frog at Normandy Beach, and I've got a picture somewhere, and it is nightmare fuel. But if I'd done it now, it'd probably look like realistic. It's
a real thing, yeah.
In 2 years, probably about 2 years is scary.
Do you have to, in your job, do you get many people being like trying to rip off like new game posters and things using AI to try and get some traction, and then you kind of have to go, do we respond about this, or is it obvious, or?
A couple of times, but quite a few. Like we've had it quite a few times. We don't tend to respond because it's like it's clearly it's an account with 3 followers.
Yeah.
They're not an official.
Yeah.
They're not official or anything like that. We have had a few where people have like I saw one on TikTok a couple of months ago where someone had faked as if we had like tweeted something, basically like saying Supermassive Games have confirmed, that Constance in the quarry is Emily from Until Dawn, but like as an old lady. So I was like, because I saw that TikTok because they did it as like a photo post.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I thought, you know what, I'm going to have a bit of fun with this because I know it's not real, but they're claiming it is. And obviously people are reading it. But I looked at the comments and I was like, oh God, there are a few poor souls that actually believe this is true. So I commented on it, and I think I commented on it being like, lol, imagine people believing this is true. And that comment ended up getting more likes than the post itself.
Was that as the Supermassive Games account or yours?
As the Supermassive
Games
account.
brilliant response.
Luckily with like TikTok and like on Discord and stuff, I had to earn the ability to do so, but like
you can't do that straight away.
My community management is very much like on places like TikTok and Discord and Instagram and stuff like that, replying to fans. I'm a bit like fun with it because it's like, well, you actually engage with them. So it's never anything offensive or anything like that, but there's sometimes a level of sass, which will be like a fun level of sass. So rather than like commenting being like, take this down, reporting it and all that, don't care people, in a way it gets eyes on
it is a big thing. Like I'm a fan of like professional wrestling, and like fans with like disabilities get all the time where like someone pretending to be like a superstar message them asking for money, and because they don't know any better and it looks official, they send them money, and it's just sad to hear sometimes. But it's like obviously with game studios, check for the official channels like Twitter. Make sure because don't believe everything you read because
if there's ever been a case, I think there's been a couple of times where we've had people like pretend that they've worked for us and stuff like that, which we then will officially shut down.
That's a whole different ball game, isn't it?
Poster, if it's a fake poster and say like someone in the Discord goes, oh, I saw this, I could be like, if it's not posted by the official channels, it's not official. Like, there you go. So but so it's like imitation is the biggest form of flattery, I think, is the way we see it.
100%.
And as long as it's never anything offensive, if it's just like someone wanting to make something for the game and they say it's official, like, oh, that's sweet. But if they're creating like art that is like the most offensive thing ever, then it'd be like, no, okay, we're going to report that and shut that down.
Do like, for example, if something leaked, because I like remember it was a couple of years ago where like a couple of game titles got leaked. Does that change your plans at all for like social posting if it's obviously closer to the time? I know I've had time to think and become a journalist.
That is a good question.
Yeah, that is.
Does that change your plans at all, or you still like that doesn't really change our plans? Because obviously I think it was a big leak. I think it was like 4 games. And
so I think when the trademark titles, yes. So it does and it doesn't, because obviously just because we've trademarked something doesn't mean it's like we've not planned on posting about it. So I mean, I guess it does change little bits, but like if I think when we released The Quarry, people were telling us that they were getting versions of the game before launch day and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of like, okay, like how do we handle this? But in terms of like leakage, normally it's just like, right, okay, like how big is it? Like, is it actually a bad thing or a good thing? We try and I think in any studio you would try and see what are the positives, what are the negatives, which way do we go? Luckily, it's never been anything so major where it's been like, okay,
I think it was just the logos, I think. So and obviously from that, you could, the story can adapt. People can kind of guess what the story, try and guess what it's about. But
and it is cool. If anything, I think it's a nice way to like see stuff. So because fans noticed that names were trademarked, and seeing the conversations happen about it, I think it's quite a nice way to be like, oh, okay, cool, like they actually are excited, like, you know, if these things happen.
It's almost a little bit of market research without having to do the market research.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But again, it's the same sort of rule where it's like, unless the official channels have posted about it, then you just can't.
Officially, like, they don't exist yet.
Yeah, so it's that sort of mentality. But yeah, you know, it doesn't. I think the only thing that changes is if like, I guess kind of like GTA 6, where I saw that I think it was like Australian or some store somewhere had listed the game and the release date before they had officially done it. Obviously, if that was like us, we'd be like, oh my God, crap, like, oh, what a panic. But there's not much you can do about it if it involves like third parties, because you can message them to be like, hi, you know, you've done this, but if they don't see it,
it's a bit like
they can't do anything.
And then you kind of sat there going, it's human error, but that's a big error to make.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, you know, if anything, I always think to myself where I've seen other studios have leaks and stuff, and if it was me, I would be like, just jump on it and just like run with it, because if the reaction is good, like soak it in and almost kind of be like, right, how can we spend this? You know, like you say, it's a human error element part. You know, don't be negative about it, because I think then it will always just have that connotation to it, and people will always remember like, oh, when this came out, everyone was kicking off about it. It's like, no, just enjoy it. Enjoy the fact that everyone is positive. And kind of just use it as a way like to kind of think, well, we've got an early kickoff, let's kind of run with it and see how we can fix it for future things. But luckily, I mean, if anything, my job is to spot leaks. So if I suddenly notice things on social media that shouldn't be on social media, I'm the kind of one to be like, right, okay, message this person, message that person, they need to get involved, they need to shut it down. And so having a week holiday can sometimes be a nightmare because I'm still like switched on.
I get questions asked, so I do stuff with a certain football game, and it's rife for leaks. Like, it's unreal how, and it's at that time of the year now where they've just announced the next one. And
I haven't seen anything about it.
Yeah, so they've just announced a couple of things. Like, it's actually like stupidly like who's the front cover art is going to be, or front cover. And I get messages from people saying, I've seen this leak, and it's like they're changing the whole gamer dynamic. I'm like, if you think that's true, you are such an idiot. And like, you can't respond to things on social media, but I get tagged in things, or my mates will message me like, is this true? I'm like, no, they're not going to add robots, are they? Can you just stop falling for the clickbait? Let's be honest here.
I think the thing that makes me laugh as well is if people, so obviously, yes, I manage the social media accounts, but I think people forget that I'm not the official spokesperson. Like, I message out approved, you know, language and wording and stuff like that has had to go through like multiple people.
Yeah, multiple people.
So when people start tagging, like if they tag me in the Discord being like, where's this? We want to know this. And I'm like, if I've not said it somewhere, it's because I'm, one, either not allowed to, or two, it's not part of the plan. Like, chill out. Or it's not real. Like, literally, like, unless it's that same kind of like same old, if it's not been said somewhere officially, don't believe it. But also, I like to think as well, where if people do notice leaks, I feel like they're almost spoiling it for themselves, because then it's a bit like, oh, well, like, if you saw it was a leak and you've chosen to jump in, and then you've chosen to either get annoyed or get excited, and then if that said leak turns out to not be true, you then end up getting annoyed at the developers for not.
It's like, why would that leak true? And then
they're like, well, why don't you do this? It's like, because we never did, or like, it's never been a thing, but you're getting annoyed at us for something that we didn't even. Like, it's. Yeah, I think, you know, it sometimes it is very difficult, and it's hard to not get personally invested when it's things on a work account or something like that. Because when people message you or like comment stuff, and you have to kind of read it and be like, no, they're not doing it to me. However, they're still doing it to the studio I work for, and I get like quite defensive.
Yeah,
so
I think
edit it out first.
I would struggle with it.
You get like a sense of excitement because you know things people don't. Which obviously is the case with most people under NDA.
Unfortunately, this podcast is called To Put It Bluntly for a reason. It stems from me being somewhat of an arsehole occasionally on social media. It's happened. It's been known once or twice.
Yeah.
I think businesses, no matter what industry it is, I think when you look at accounts like Ryanair or like Duolingo, like I like to think I've been doing it just as long as them, but obviously I'm not as big of a following in terms of like whether it's massive or when I work for the police or whatever. Obviously, working for the police, there was definite yes and no's on like how to respond to things and handle things, which was a lot stricter.
Yeah, I can imagine that's a minefield, isn't it? Yeah.
You see it, you'll see a mugshot and you think, oh, that's perfect. That will get a billion views. Yeah. Can't use it.
There was more opportunities to reply to people being like, "Are you fucking dumb?" But I couldn't. I really wish I could, but I've definitely learned that kind of like having a bit of a personality and backbone on a corporate account isn't a bad thing.
No.
Like I think too many people are like, "Oh, we're so sorry," blah, blah, blah. Or like, "Yeah, you're so right." It's like, no, like back yourself a little bit. Like if someone's commenting something and they're being an idiot, I mean, don't tell them they're being an idiot, but like kill them with kindness and almost use the customer service voice to be like, okay, and I'm just going to prove you wrong now, but put a smile at the end and make you feel like an idiot and kind of expose you to everyone else, because then everyone else is going to back the fact that what you commented was just dumb. So,
it's like one of my favourite accounts is it shows the naivety of people on social media. If you've seen the film Hot Fuzz, it's based in a non-existent place called Sandford, isn't it? And there is this
Sandford Police Station.
If you go on Twitter and there's a Sandford Police Force account, and the stuff they tweet and people bite for it so much. And like it goes viral every so often because they'll read like people will be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe the police are putting time and effort into this," and I'm just like, it's such it's obvious satire as well, and it just goes straight over people's
it's like
head.
if you just did one more click, you'd see it's not an official police.
Another big one as well.
People just don't research things as well. It's just like, oh my god.
And it's great because like it sounds stupid, but it makes people people that are in social media jobs easier. Or it's so great. Like I get it because I post content on TikTok and stuff, and I have got a pretty hefty receding hairline. And when people comment on it, I'm like, it's greatest interaction. Crack on. I was like, I literally have named myself after my disability. Do you think I care about my hairline? Just keep bringing in the clicks, and it's great.
Ken from LinkedIn. I don't know if you two know him.
No.
He does like the CEO sort of posts.
Oh, I know. I thought it might be the guy that does he does the kind of like LinkedIn influencer where he's like, I've seen a couple of guys like that, which always make me laugh.
He was on the TV show, The Genius Game. That was on a couple of weeks ago. Like I really enjoyed that. But he's a similar. There's one about he went to see his 2-year-old niece or something, and everybody was saying, "Oh, she's brilliant because she did something," and he went, "No, she's not. She hasn't run a Fortune 500 company." Like and you can tell he's being joking, obviously, but some people are like, "Oh, that's rude. You should apologise to your niece." Some people just can't teach them, but there we are.
Yeah.
So,
it's a fun world.
We've been. I'd like to finish on a happy, positive. What's your favourite bit of content you've posted? Works individually, other than the video of your boss being an absolute see you next Tuesday. What's your What's the one thing if someone said to you, what's your most your proudest content post, whether it's through Supermassive or through your own? Other than that, what do you go that when people kind of go, what's the one you had the most fun making or something? Is what I'm trying to
So I'd probably say there's two. So personally, on my own personal kind of socials, would probably be a video I posted on my TikTok. I'm hoping someone that is watching this will have seen it because it's got, last time I checked, 5 million views.
Oh my god!
And it, just casually just a few.
Just the 5 million. There's just 300.
And it was essentially a video. I went to visit my grandfather in Ireland. I call him Pop-Ops, and I went to visit him on Ireland about 1.5 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. And as I mentioned earlier, I like to film my trips and stuff like that. So I was driving and my boyfriend was filming because I said to him, "Oh, get a clip of me waving goodbye to him at the end, just so I can put it at the end of the video." So he's filming and he managed to film my pop-ups and stuff like that. And it is really sweet because my grandmother, bless her, she passed away a few years ago now with Alzheimer's. So he's on his own over in Ireland. So it's harder to go and see him. So I was waving goodbye and he was there, and his wave was kind of just a little wave like that. It was absolutely tiny compared to me going like this. So thought nothing of it, and I was a bit like, I was crying because I hate saying goodbye to him every single time. It kills me. So then I think it was like probably a week or two later, and I was just on TikTok and I saw this video that was using this like quite sweet sound. It was, I can't remember the name of it, but I was like, oh, that would work pretty well with this video of me waving goodbye to pop-ups. So I used it, uploaded it, suddenly woke up the next morning and it had just blown up. Like everyone was like, oh, I wish I'd said goodbye to my pop-ups one more time, or like, you can't leave him, go back. Like people,
Oh.
suddenly he became like TikTok pop-ups and everyone was like, we love him. So I think that video personally on my own personal stuff is probably my favorite, just because the love I have for him,
Oh,
everyone
that's really
else
sweet.
was
Yeah.
able to experience and kind of, and he is just like, he's my favorite person in the world. So I'm glad that other people, were able to see that. And it got to the point where it was almost used in like a TikTok campaign by TikTok themselves. They reached out and were like, we're doing an advert. The advert fell through, but I was like, oh wow, like this is really cool that this is going places. But for Supermassive, I would probably say just creating the TikTok channel for Supermassive, because all the other channels already existed when I joined, but we didn't have a TikTok account. So me and my colleague at the time, Cheryl, we were like, we've got to get on TikTok. Like there are no other game studios at the time on
it's
here.
still
Like there's
not
a few.
massively common. They're not.
Yeah, it's such a great platform as well. So we put together a little pitch deck, sat our manager down. He then took that pitch deck and we had to kind of tell him what to say because he was like, I don't get TikTok. So we basically had to like script out the pitch for him to take to the CEOs. And they were like, sounds great. We have no idea what TikTok is. We don't understand it. So I remember the kind of first few videos we did, the amount of explanation it took for like something that was like 5 seconds long was ridiculous. So, I mean, luckily now as time has gone on, it's so much easier to post TikToks, but like seeing the journey of like, I think the first one we ever did was decorating the Christmas tree in the studio, and it has The Rock like rapping over Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You, because that was the trending sound at the time. So like comparing that to like what we do now and like what I'm able to make now, we reached 100,000 followers the other week, and we've done it all organically. So like that channel is like my baby, and it's the most fun, and I'd probably say like that's my proudest thing, just because it's everything I wanted the channel to be. And like as people have come and gone, and like the fact that it's just me now like running it, I still talk to Cheryl about videos and stuff like that, and she's like, oh, I love that you finally got to do this idea from like something that we had come up with like years ago, and it's finally being able to get out there. So I think just probably everything is probably TikTok, but it's just such a good platform, and I think it's that's probably my like professional favorite. Or just working with like the Quarry was like my first game credit, so anything involved with that as well, which is really cool.
We'll talk all about the Quarry in a bit.
Yeah. So
okay.
I think it's time to move on to patch notes. I'd just like to say, like we will obviously still be talking to Tara, but you can find a lot of all of her information in the dump. We'll link her.
Yep.
We'll link her
Link the
personal.
Supermassive TikTok.
Yeah, we'll link both so you
info.
can find her personally and professionally. But so we will be back after this short break with some patch notes.
Accessibility podcast called To Put It Bluntly.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Patch Notes for the 28th time. Amazing. There's still news. But anyway, moving on. I'm going first this week, and my story is not amazing, but it's quite... I wanted to say it because the byline is amazing. I will give a shout out to the writer who I've talked to before. But anyway, Sonic joins McLaren Racing in historic partnership with Sega. And then the byline is Senna!
Fuck's sake.
Ed Nightingale, take a bow. Take a bow.
That's fantastic.
That's
That's absolutely amazing.
You gave it justice as well with your...
Yeah.
You couldn't just read that. If you read that, I would have been so disappointed.
Yeah, you nailed that.
Because I saw a video of PlayStation Access. Rosie went to the Sega offices, and when they opened the toilet doors, it says Sega.
No. Oh my
Yeah.
god, that must get annoying after a while.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say-
I'd spend
I
the
was gonna
first
say,
5 minutes going, oh my god, I'm opening and closing the door. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the official gaming partner of McLaren Racing, Sega. Partnership will go around 2026, which is Sonic's 35th anniversary year, and we'll see McLaren's 1000th Grand Prix,
That's
which is good going considering I think it's like 22 season,
So-
23.
We talked about the Indiana Jones, because Indiana Jones had a livery, didn't they, when they released...
Yeah, but
It's-
the big thing, it's not the first time they've joined forces. Back in 1983, they held a European Grand Prix at Donington Park in the UK, which was known as the Sonic Grand Prix, which McLaren F1 driver Ayrton Senna won and received a Sonic the Hedgehog trophy.
Oh,
So
what a
that's-
nice sort of like full circle.
Yeah,
that's-
yeah.
That's so it's just obviously this is trying to promote Sonic Racing Crossworlds, which I'm really looking forward to. It's going to have a couple of other characters from different franchises, so Hatsune Miku, Joker from Persona, Minecraft Steve, and SpongeBob.
I just love
you know.
the games collaborations coming
Quite
out
a
of everywhere these days.
Mm.
Thomas ran into the front room the other day and was like, Dad, there's Bob's, you can buy Bob from Bob's Burgers on Fortnite. And I was like, oh, that's so
Oh, because they're
great.
doing King of the Hill, aren't
Yeah,
they? as
you can
well as
be
Bob
Cleveland from
Cleveland,
Family Guy
yeah.
or the Cleveland Show.
Yeah.
Get Bob from King of the Hill, Bob from Bob's Burgers, or I can't remember his name from King of the Hill.
Hank.
That's
Yeah.
it, Hank from King of the Hill. Yeah. So yeah, it's just I love the random Fortnite collabs that they do. I think it's great. But
Yeah,
onto my news.
once again, a bow.
It's just Ed, well played. We love that.
That was great.
Yeah, I'm fully here for that. But yeah, my news. So, as we know, Borderlands 4 is coming out soon-ish. There was already some controversy about the price because
We talked about in the last one.
Yeah, it would have been the last one where he came out and said £80, people want to pay it, they'll pay £80 for it. Which you kind of, as I said, I'm a sucker that would pay £80 to play
Yeah.
Borderlands 4 because I adore it. But my friends then sent me a link to the Super Duper Deluxe Edition, which gives you a collectible. So they've introduced a robot that kind of is your navigational assistant, which fingers crossed on another thing is I'm hoping that means an improvement in accessibility, but that's a different discussion. It becomes, you get a 20 centimetre tall robot looking statue and the LEDs light up. You get some key artwork and things like that in the package. It's £160, and I was like, that's fair enough. Like, if you get that, the Super Duper Deluxe version of the game, and then my mate went, look at the bottom right because it's in quite small text.
Yeah.
It's
There
in
you go,
very
there we
small.
go.
It's in small text, and it says "games sold separately," and I nearly fell out of my chair because
That's mad.
it's £160 and you don't even get the game.
Wow.
That's because some people buy digital anyway, don't they? So
Yeah.
they just
And like
some
I was
people
like,
buy digital and want the collectible. So
I was like,
see
it
what they've
doesn't,
done here.
it doesn't say like metal case or anything on there like that. So I was like, I'll just give you a code. Like, look at, and then my mate was like, no, check the bottom right. And I was like, oh my god, it's sold separately. Imagine selling this duper deluxe version of your game, but not actually putting the game in it.
Have people noticed that, or like have you seen
I think
people?
Some haven't.
some
Some haven't,
haven't. I think it's got a bit of traction on some social media places, but my mate just messaged me like, I haven't had time lately with much, so yeah. But the fact that I then was like, it's sold separately, and the base game is, checked before recording, is $69.99 in the UK. So that's still a whack. But
Not the most expensive ever though.
no,
That's Saints Row. They had £1 million edition. I remember that Saints Row 4.
it came with a gold.
Oh.
Was it gold?
It came with cars. Like
Yeah.
2 weeks in Dubai. You'd get to
Wow.
like be in one of their games. It was a great plastic surgery. There's obviously they have plastic surgery in Saints Row.
That's it. I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like $1 million. I don't think anyone bought it.
it's a great PR.
Imagine
song.
if you
Money.
did
I didn't
though.
have the money. I only had about 200. So.
Imagine having that much money to buy $1 million, dollar.
I did include the
whatever.
game though, so that's
Yeah.
that's
Oh yeah,
good.
that's all right then. That's fine. Yeah.
yeah. That's
Oh,
Def-
Borderlands.
I'll go get it.
Didn't have
I'll
the
get
game.
it tomorrow. It's fine. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I can take a loan out, right?
Yeah. Just empty the savings account. I'm sure Mrs. Wobbles won't mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just like I couldn't not highlight it. I know it feels like I've spoke a lot about Borderlands in these moments, but like normally it's quite positive, but that shocked me. Like,
Yeah,
I'd say I've
physical games are, people they're trying to get rid of physical games.
25 years I've gamed, right, and I've bought special editions of games in the past, like the quite expensive ones and things. And could
I
you
remember they were like
imagine if you
50.
hadn't read it and that turns up, you open it and you go, "Where's the fucking game?" Yeah,
People are it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
like,
of course it is.
I can guarantee
Yeah.
you're gonna get on launch day people going, "Where's my game?" And their poor CM or social media person, whoever, is gonna have to then be that person to reply, going, "It's not included. You should have seen."
Yes, it's in that very small writing in the corner, yellow against a white background.
That must feel horrible.
I would cry.
Yeah,
I would absolutely cry. I would like, I'm taking a week holiday when the game launches.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm dealing with that.
What do you mean the social managers off the week? Social media managers off like the week? It's she's refused. She did try to. She did try to quit, but we wouldn't let her do that either. Yeah.
What do you mean she's taken out the free therapy?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh God. Oh man. Oh God. I just Oh, dear.
Sorry if I've just given you trauma flashbacks.
I'm just getting trauma for someone.
Yeah, second-hand trauma.
I'm just whatever's coming. I'm hoping people realise it, or they do a post or something clarifying.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't see the small print,
I've had to do that with. So it's like I said earlier on. I do stuff with EA, and they had a misprint somewhere, and they put on their accessibility tags that it had menu narration. Someone bought the game expecting menu narration and messaged me and was like, "It's not got menu narration." And I was like, I know exactly what's happened here. Straight, he was like, "It's on the Xbox tags," and I was like, "No, that's game chat narration for the CVVA stuff." And you get sitting there, and like, I don't even work for them, and I'm like, "Oh, I feel bad because I've now got to shit on someone and say, look, you can't actually play the game. You're probably quite excited to play, so yeah."
Yeah, it's killer, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't want to be that person that lets them down, even though it's not your fault.
Yeah, I was like, what do I say? How do I say it? I was just like, rip the plaster off and do it nice and quick. Yeah.
Oh God.
But yeah, what's your? I know we're not talking about this now. What's the weirdest question you've been asked as a community manager? I need to know. I like the weird and wonderful things that gamers ask.
Ooh. We get. I mean.
PG?
Yeah, you don't have to. It's again, we're adults. You can be non-PG here. Like, yeah.
So it depends really. So like, obviously you get like Instagram bots. So the like hidden request folder of like DMs, is just porn, and I'm like, why is this account, like the Dark Fishes account, been added into this group chat? Like, this is what the hell. So I just avoid the hidden request folder when I'm like, if I'm working in the office, because the amount of times I've gone into DMs and someone's walked past, it's just seen on my screen. And we work in a horror game studio, so as you can imagine, there are some horrible things on screens. But that, I'm just like, and like I've made eye contact with people, and I'm like, no, I'm not looking at you.
And that makes it worse because
I'm checking messages, and they've put us in a group chat.
It's terrible. On Twitter all the time,
And then no one's going to believe you because I'd
sure to check DMs.
You'd go for a coffee, wouldn't you, and be like, "Why isn't no one's adding Supermassives to an Instagram thing? What was she looking at?" Yeah.
Yeah, because they're just going to walk by and they're not going to see that it's in a group chat. They're not going to see that it's like all this sort of stuff. They're just going to see something going into someone, and it's just like, oh God.
No.
That's the way of putting it.
Yeah.
But it's just so I've learned to not open DMs sometimes in the office. I mean, we get people asking to be on our games. We get people sending us voice notes just screaming into the microphone.
That was me with Oblivion. Just I know the community manager for England on a UB, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's me. Sorry.
I mean, I really wanted to do it back, and just reply back with like. But it's I mean, luckily nothing too crazy. We get a few weird comments and stuff like that, but luckily nothing where I've been a bit like, I need to like wash my eyes out, apart from just porn in the DMs. We get interesting fan art, which is sometimes a bit
Do you get spicy fan art?
Spicy fan art. Or like I'll be again, it's always people walking by at the wrong time. Is I'll be like searching on the internet for like character pictures and stuff like that, just to be like, right, I just want to make sure, like, refresh my memory where this is in the game so I can go in and capture it and whatever. And there'll be like there's like a thing called ArtStation, which is where a lot of artists in the game industry will upload work they've done. So I'll be searching for it, but fans can also use ArtStation. So I'll be going through, and somehow they get like the renders of our characters, and they'll turn it into porn. So I'll be scrolling through, and I'm like, why the hell am I seeing Sam from Until Dawn just naked on my screen? And then of course someone walks by, and I'm like, again, I'm not looking at porn, I promise. So yeah, I have to generally, like, when I'm like, right, before I search, I'm gonna just look to my left, to my right,
make sure,
use
the private browser to make
Like I like looking at ArtStation, but for games that I'm interested in, like I think Crash, they put a lot of Crash Team Racing stuff on, and Crash popped up. Crash was that hung. That's all I'm gonna say.
But it's so weird.
I didn't think of things like that. Like, I bet you get fan fiction as well, don't you?
Oh,
we get people putting characters with each other, and it's great. But then they're like, Supermassive, confirm it, and I'm like, oh my god, no! Like, all the relationships that we are confirming are in the game. Like, these two people aren't even in the same game. Why do you want us to confirm that they're in a relationship, or more, or less, or whatever?
It is kind of thing. Some of the actors do cross over the different games, don't they? And they play different roles.
Face models
faces,
for dark pictures, yes. Apart from the like celebrity face,
the star,
yeah. But they are different voice actors, and they're different, obviously, character names and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So
I've seen him before. He's in House of Ashes. Yeah,
it's similar to things like American Horror Story and those kind of anthologies where they use the same actors. It's that same sort of principle
different
where
roles,
we're using the same face models. Fun, for bigger picture stuff. I think some of the directors and stuff have done interviews, because we get that asked a lot. So
they're using the same characters all the time.
It's like, just like change it. And it's like, there is a reason. Everything is done for a reason. Like, God. So, but yeah, obviously I can't reply to that as aggressively, but yes.
Well, that was a tangent and a half from...
That
was a phenomenal tangent, actually, yeah. I'm not quite sure. The tagline for this episode is going to be great.
The spicy one.
The spicy one, yeah. It's getting spicy with Supermassive, I think,
people are going to think that we're going to be releasing a porn game or something, and I'm just going to get my manager...
I wouldn't be surprised if PlayStation Store has gone absolutely terrible. I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen that tongue Sahur like thing?
Oh god, no! I did see one on
Italian
Steam.
brain rot.
Oh,
I saw one on Steam.
Thomas is talking about Italian. My little boy Taz is talking about Italian brain rot. Yeah.
It's like Bombardino Crocodilo. And
that's all it. Thomas keeps talking all about that crap. Yeah, don't know.
Yeah.
No.
I love that. It's just like vocal stems.
That's what he.
randomly do.
Funnily enough, he's 8 removed. Like, they're putting it through his ADHD diagnosis, and he adores it because it's all vocal stems and But
I mean,
some people just don't need to. But yeah, he's one of them.
Yeah. I will say it's great to work in a studio, or at least with a team that's like my manager Greg. No idea about TikTok, not TikTok trends or nothing. So I'll start randomly. I'll be in my own head, and I'll just start going like, there's a cat on TikTok that goes wee wee. So I'll just start randomly doing that, and he looks at me, and I'm like, oh god, sorry, no, it's a TikTok thing. Or like I'll be on my phone on the TikTok account, and he'll hear a sound, and he's like, I don't get it. I'm like, no, you don't have to get it. It's just funny. Like,
it's just brain rot, great, easy watching. Yeah.
And he's like, how does this relate to our games? I'm like, it doesn't. It's great.
But it's going to go viral, so stop moaning. I'm doing my job. Yeah. So we move on. Tara, what news do you bring? Because you've got some actually quite positive news, and I've read about it this morning. Yeah, it would have been this morning. Yeah.
I think it's in the last couple of days. So the UK government is going to fund the UK Games Fund to support British game development. I think there's like a big fund for like everything, film, TV, games, media, all that stuff, which is like 100 million or something like that, or like 300 million or something. But gaming itself is going to get, I think, like 30 mil.
Yeah, I think it was 10%, 10% of the final amount, I think I read.
Yeah. So, and that's to help like small studios and just to like really support game development, which I think is amazing, because I still think people don't realize how much hard work goes into making a game. Like I've learned from experience, both working for a game studio and just working in social media, the amount of comments we'll get on posts where, like, for example, we'll announce a release date for a game, and because people have to wait like 3 months, it's so difficult for them, and they're like, God, just release a game now, like how hard can it be? And I'm like, well, clearly you're an expert, come and work for us. You must be able to push this game out as a solo developer. So I think people don't realize like how much time and attention and how difficult games are to make, regardless of what like genre or scale or anything like that. Obviously Supermassive Games, we have different branching narratives, so there's all these different things that we have to make. You've got games like Call of Duty, the mechanics of those must be so difficult. So like it's really cool to see that more funding is going into it, especially when times can be quite tough for any game studio, no matter what size. So I think that's really, really cool, and I hope it we do at Supermassive in Surrey, they have a thing called teacher encounters. So we've done it for a couple of years now, where teachers come into the studio and we teach them how to encourage their students to get into the gaming industry.
I love that.
Because a lot of the time it's you don't realize you want to be in it until places like uni, where you can learn game development. So it's hopefully going to bring that education forward a bit and enhance those skills early on. But I think it's really cool, especially for small studios, because there are so many devs that go out and create their own studio, after working in places. That's how Supermassive Games started. Pete and Joe used to work for EA, and then they went off and created Supermassive Games. So I wouldn't be here if they didn't go off and create their own small studio. So I think it's a really, really cool thing, and hopefully it does do what it's meant to do. Obviously, we all know that sometimes things are planned and then don't happen. So I'm hoping the government pulls through and does fund this option for British gaming. Because I think Welsh government did it as well recently. They did a smaller pot, but they've done something similar. So I think just as the UK in general, it's an awesome thing to see.
Yeah, it's a bit late for me. I shut my game studio down like 2 months ago. Well, it's not shut down, it's in dormancy, so it can always come back. But it's really good news. We had someone from the government on, at the end of last series. Yeah, and that was a good conversation. And obviously, they are trying to put their money where their mouth is, but there's always going to be negative people.
Oh, no matter what.
We should spend our money somewhere else, or
I think it's like a vicious cycle where people complain about there being nothing new out there, but then don't give the small studios the opportunity, because they only play like the big stuff that comes out all the time, and then they complain that nothing new. Like it's kind of like, well, we can't do it unless you pay, and that kind of vicious cycle. So hopefully with the government coming in, it stops the small studios having to rely on things like crowdfunding and all that sort of stuff, because then it means that when people actually come around to buying the game, they can. So
indie games, so varied and been so successful recently. Balatro, just a talk.
I love Balatro. Oh my god,
you addicted?
I've not touched it.
We're both like, we don't want to touch it because we got things to do.
I got
creative stuff I'm doing.
Yeah, I have it on my PC, but I even bought it for my phone because I love it that much.
But
things like, like Repo and like Manor-Lords, I believe Manor-Lords was done by solo dev as well.
Yeah,
and
it was one bloke to start with. Yeah,
and I'm obsessed with it. And I love the fact that it's not perfect, but I can appreciate the game. I don't, regardless if I was working for a studio or not, I can appreciate the vision and the quality of it, and the fact that he's done this all himself. I think it's really, really cool. And then when you get showcases out there that help support and push indie studios, hopefully again this fund can come in and help just advertise and push those things up, because it's not an easy thing. A lot of people have to work full time as well as creating their own. I've got a couple of people on LinkedIn where I see that they're doing their own little side projects as well as working for studios and stuff like that. So hopefully it just it means that we can just get more out of it. Like Guildford is apparently known as like the Hollywood of gaming, because there are so many different studios here, and those are just big well-known ones. So then I can only imagine how many small indie studios are around as well. and like events like Guildford's Games Festival. I think it's been in a couple of years now that they've been running. We get, they get so many developers in that from, there's been Larian, we go there, all the way to small solo devs, all in one place showcasing. And I think hopefully funds like this will help events like that as well. Things like Develop Brighton and, London Games Festival, like all these different things, hopefully just keep going because it's so easy. I think, was it WASD? They announced last year that they're not moving forward anymore. Like that was a great place for indie places to go, so
EGX has gone off a cliff,
yeah, it sucks to see because like those were the places where fans could connect, but also then find these indie golden hits. So yeah, fingers crossed. I'm hoping in the next year to however long it's going to take for it to be implemented and running, that it does the job.
I think that is a perfect time to move on to the last segment. Which
a quiz. Okay.
Would be charity challenge. So we'll have a quick intermission and we'll be straight back. Hello everybody and welcome back after that small interlude. We are back with the ever-present Cameron and Tara from Supermassive Games still. We will now be putting Tara through her paces and it is time for the charity challenge. One thing I'm going to say is...
This may be the first example,
yeah,
I think you might be saying the same thing, of someone having a game that they've been involved in.
I did say to Karen, I saw it and was like, hold on, she works for Supermassive and she's picked a Supermassive. I was like, surely that's not allowed. I was like, we've not got any rules in place. And I was like, hold on.
We haven't anybody else. I was going to say, why has nobody else done it? That's what I'm saying.
We've had loads of devs on. One, no one else has done it. But two, is that not...
Well, it depends because I suck at quizzes, so I am the sort of person where like I have all this knowledge in my head, but the second someone asks me about it, I can't find the file. So, this could either make me look really bad
or
like,
terrible.
Really
yeah. So, you've obviously picked The Quarry as your game.
Yeah.
What charity would we be donating to if you are successful?
So the charity would be Alzheimer's UK. So it's a kind of personal one to me. My grandparents, so my grandmother who passed away from it a few years ago, but I've also got my granddad at the moment who struggles with it. So it's a charity close to my heart.
Yeah, it's an horrible disease and hopefully we'll find a cure for it in our lifetime. Right, with that being said, question 1. I think you'll get this one. Which studio developed The Quarry? Is it A, Supermassive Games, B, Supergiant Games, C, Massive Giant Games, or D, Super Games?
It'd be a bit bad if I got this one wrong, wouldn't it? I have my answer if you're ready.
Yep, ready.
Supermassive Games.
Yep, correct.
I did almost say Supergiant.
Yeah,
I imagine you got it wrong. I'd have cried.
Correct. So question 1 now, Wobbs, it's your question.
So question 2, who directed The Quarry? George Lucas, Mathew Allcock, that's my name by the way, Will Biles, or director, for fuck's sake?
It is my, as I like to call him, I don't know if he knows I call him this, Bestie Biles, Will Biles. Correct.
Question 3. Now, there's no multiple choice now, but...
Oh god, okay.
Yeah, they're not too hard, I would say, but if you played it. How many main playable characters are there in The Quarry?
Okay, main playable characters. So I need to ask because it depends. Some people change the definitions, but is it any character that can be controlled or like make choices and stuff for you guys? Because sometimes there are playable characters, but they've only been on screen for like 15 minutes. Okay.
So what I would do is, if you give your answers of both the definitions, and then...
Okay. So, playable, I'm going to list them so I can count. So there's Laura and Max, Emma, Caitlin, Dylan, Ryan, Abby, Nick, Jacob. I don't think so. I'm going to say 9.
Correct.
Yes, okay.
Okay, question 4.
Which actor who plays Tommy Laporte in The Quarry is also known for their role as Dewey Riley in the Scream film series?
Oh, David Arquette.
Correct.
Correct.
I was going to do a wrestling question back because he is actually a former wrestling world champion.
He is, isn't he?
If I was me, I'd bring it up all the time. But anyway, question 5. Which console was the Quarry originally going to be exclusive to?
Ooh. I know this. Oh god. I can't remember the name of the console. Was it something to do with Google or...
We might need more.
I actually can't remember the name of the console.
We can't
Oh
get-
my gosh,
we
no,
can't-
it's
we
like
can't even help
blanking.
you on this one because it's
I
a
know.
close call because someone else has also got 4. So
Oh no, okay. What is the name of this freaking console? Oh my gosh. I know it's to do with Google, but I didn't even know what the name. For some reason, I want to say like Google Quest, but I know it's not Quest. So Google.
Might be time. No need to rush.
yeah,
I know,
we'll
but
give you a. Do you reckon you're gonna get it?
I don't think I will because every word in my head just doesn't seem to match what I think it could be.
I really want to
No,
give
I
you.
don't know.
I really want to give you half a mark because it's Google Stadia.
Ah, Stadia.
We'll have to confirm.
Yeah.
Me and Cameron will confirm if we give you a half mark afterwards.
If I get half a mark.
But
I appreciate if I don't because Google isn't a console, but I appreciate
it's hard.
that.
What?
Frickin' Stadia.
I don't know if Haley pre-warned. Haley, sorry, it's because my wife has just messaged me. Cameron pre-warned you. There's a second part to this charity challenge
Ooh, no.
where we stitch some people up quite well because we are now going to randomly find a letter. You will have 30 seconds to randomly to name as many games that start with that random letter as possible.
Oh god, it's gonna be fucking dead or something, isn't it?
Everyone, we don't have Z or X, and
Okay, thank God, okay.
only one person has smashed this, and that's because I can't remember if they got M. I think
You
they
got
got
easy. Where
they
you
got
could have,
M,
like,
and they just went through like the whole Madden series. So
Oh my god, okay, yeah.
if you get a letter that you can land on that, you're good. It can be even if it's like Call of Duty, we will accept Call of Duty 1, 2, 3. So you've got
Can I ask a question? If I get T, does the count, or do you count like if it was
I
like
think
the
we just.
quarry?
I think we've had tea already.
Okay, because I was gonna say if it was like the quarry, I could just say like loads of those, but now I'm
Yeah,
trying to think I can't think of any other games. But yeah, okay.
so my randomly generated letter is N.
We had N before.
N.
And we haven't had N before.
We haven't, right? Okay.
I
let me
can't
get
see it
to
on
N.
my. I lost the list, but it's fine because if in all honesty, if Tara hasn't listened to the podcast, she won't be able to steal someone's previous answers, so it's not an issue. So your letter is
Yeah.
N. Until I can press start. You've got 30 seconds from now to name as many games that begin with N.
Uh. NBA. 2024. And there have been multiple NBA games. NBA. I don't know if there was one in 2023. I'm just going to say all these years and then hope that some of them are true. 2023, 2022, NBA 2021, NBA 2020, NBA 2019. I think that. I don't know if there was any more before then.
And that's your time.
Oh no! No, I only said NBAs. I literally just thought of Need for Speed as well, and they have
So-
so many.
I was going to go. I do it with you because I don't have the list of games. I do the timing. Need for Speed is what I would have hit on, but NBA was a
Okay.
good shout.
To be fair,
NBA.
I don't know any Need for Speed titles, so I was just going to say
N is
random.
quite difficult. There's Neverwinter Nights. There's not too many big series beginning with that. Nino Cooney, Needhog,
Yeah, I wouldn't have got
Nia,
any of them.
I'm trying to think if there's any of our own. I don't think we have
Ninja
any games
Gaiden.
beginning with N.
We have had 2 people now forget that the name of the game they're working on actually starts with the letter
Yeah,
they got.
right.
It's been done twice,
Nintendo,
so don't worry about
Nintendo
it.
Switch, Nia, No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky, yeah.
It's really easy in it when someone's got a
Nobody
list in
Wants
front
to
of them.
Die. Yep.
Do you know what? Literally after this, I'm going to be Googling games beginning with N, and I'm probably going to kick myself over some like really obvious ones as well.
You got 6 in the end, so
Yeah, it's
Okay,
respectable.
that's decent. It might be a winner depending on the other things. We'll
Okay.
Yeah, well, Cameron's got the list of previous scores.
well, I'll have to literally go through and
Yeah, but
Yeah.
at the end of the series.
that brings us to a close. Tara, it's been lovely to get to know you, chat to you, talk to you, and as we always say, thank you for your time and speaking to myself and Cameron. We say what I'd like to end on is I forgot to ask it is what's next for Tara?
Ooh, what is next for me? So what is next for me? Obviously continuing on working hard here at Supermassive Games. I am just working on the social campaign for Directors of 20, which is really, really fun. And just working on community stuff and chatting away. I say recently, but we launched the Supermassive Games Discord, so I throw myself into that a lot.
Yep.
Personal life wise, just trying to play more games, which probably sounds like an easy task, but I had a few years where I just never played games. I want to try and get back into that and rediscover some classics. And just enjoying life, I think, as much as possible. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just working away. So
No, that's perfect.
Yep,
So,
perfect.
as I said previously, thank you for coming on and chatting to us, and that's been, to put it bluntly, I've been the Wobbly
Indeed.
Gamer.
I've been Cameron,
And
and this is Bye.